Okay, let me introduce you real quick.
Sure.
I just want to introduce you to, if you haven't met her already, Julie Johnson. She is the owner of Rosie's on Iron Event Center here in Salina. She's also the third place winner of the 2023 Charlie Walker Pitch Competition. So we're hoping that she's going to share a little bit of her journey and also a little bit of her experience about the pitch competition, because we'll be rolling out all of that stuff later on in the year. So I'm going to turn it over to Julie.
All right, thank you. Okay, like she said, my name is Julie Johnson, and I've come to talk today about my journey as an entrepreneur, how I started, lessons I've learned, and just the wild ride of owning your own business. Okay, so kind of how I started, I've always been a natural born entrepreneur. I'm creative, I'm a dreamer, I love thinking of ideas, I love big visions, it's my favorite part. And I'm a busybody, right? So like I always have to be doing something, like it's always a thing I have to be doing. So in high school, I started having a business during Christmas time, and it was a cookie baking business, and it was called Season's Eatings. And so I sold homemade cookies in high school when I was 16 as kind of my first exposure to entrepreneurship.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, right? Like I love that kind of creative stuff. So next in my journey is I was a Pampered Chef consultant. So those of you who don't know Pampered Chef, they're a direct sales company. They sell kitchen tools. I started in 2010. I loved interacting with customers. I'm a natural extrovert. I get my energy from people and solving their common kitchen problems, right? Like I don't have time to cook dinner. I don't have the right tools. I don't have all that. So solving their problems as my customers. So I became a director, and a director is just a higher level in Pampered Chef. Earned a trip to San Diego and had a team of people under me. If you can't tell, I'm an achiever, right? Like I achieve and achieve and achieve. And Pampered Chef was really, really good for me because with Pampered Chef, you have cooking shows. And so what that means is you go to people's house and you make a recipe in front of a group. And that really taught me how to public speak and to be comfortable in front of speaking in front of people. So I can thank Pampered Chef for that. I did that for about 4 years, and it taught me that skill. So here's me. I went to New Director Academy. I went to the headquarters at Pampered Chef. I think it was in Chicago. I was pregnant with my daughter there, and that was my Pampered Chef journey. Okay. So I'm also a photographer, in addition to owning the venues. So in 2015, I bought a big girl camera, one of the DSLRs, Canon DSLR, and I started like most photographers start, taking pictures of my kids. So I take pictures of my kids. I took newborn photos of my son in 2015 with my big fancy camera. And then in 2016, I had my first client because she said, our newborn photographer canceled on us. Can you take my kids' pictures? I saw your pictures you took of my son. And I think that's how a lot of photographers get started, is they start taking pictures with their family. Somebody sees them, says, hey, you take really good pictures. Can you come take our pictures? So I began taking clients in 2016. And currently I own her creative studio. I shoot on a full-time basis, so I do a lot of sessions. And then I have another photographer as part of my team. She's my associate photographer. So I've trained her in shooting, lighting, editing, all of that stuff. Why I love photography is the fusion of technical aspects. So on a camera, there's certain settings you have to do to be able to get the look you want to achieve. And then just the artistic creative vision. I love executing that, having a vision and bringing it to life. Part of photography that I love is working with clients. I love seeing families grow up before my eyes and do family pictures with them every year. And then I also do boudoir photography, and that really empowers women and makes them see themselves differently. So I love photography. So this is me. That's when I started, and that's me now. This is me taking pictures of my kids back in 2017 or so. They're way bigger now. They're 9 and 8. But I just loved taking pictures of my kids. This is my work now. I do families. That's a senior and a maternity. Okay, so then so I acquired a space in McPherson because I was looking for a place for a photography studio. During the winter, photography is pretty dead because you can't go outside. And I do also pose studio newborns, like the ones where they're just sleeping and so happy. So I was looking for a studio in McPherson, and there was this big building. It's 2,500 square feet. It was for rent. I was like, I don't need that much space, but I'm just going to go look at it. And so I looked at it, and I was like, oh my gosh, the rent is a lot. And, but I could also double this when I'm not here as an event venue, like a small event venue, because McPherson doesn't have, like they have, like the Girl Scout cabin, they have church basements, they have like that kind of stuff, but not really a kind of upscale small event venue for bridal showers, baby showers, class reunions, retirement parties, all of those things. And then in January of 2023, my team and I, we rebranded to Rosie's. So it was called Julie Johnson Photography Studio and Event Center, which was great because that showed that this was my photography studio. But a lot of people was like, I don't even know what that means. So we went to Rosie's on Main because it's on Main Street in McPherson. And that Rosie's on Main, small event venue, we have that in the name so people could understand what this place is. Because I've gotten the feedback from people, I drive by here all the time, but I don't know what this place is. So it's on our big sign now that says small event venue. So this is my building in McPherson. This is Rosie's on Main. It's very, so you can see like it's very eclectic and I use it for photography. So there's different setups that I use for photography, but then we also have like the tables and chairs for the events. And then in March 2023, I became a venue owner in Salina. So Rosie's on Iron is located on Iron Avenue. It was kind of one of those things that was the right opportunity at the right time. I moved to Salina in December of 2021. I lived in McPherson prior to that, and that's why I had Rosie's on Main in McPherson because I lived there. And so I moved to Salina in 2021, and people are like, "Oh, are you going to open up your photography studio here or move it?" And I'm like, "No, I'm good." And then one day I started looking at commercial properties in Salina, and I was like, "Oh my goodness, they're so expensive just for rent." And honestly, the thing that really kind of my why for the event venue is I'm a part of a Facebook group called Salina Moms, and all the time I see on there, how do you meet friends? Like I'm in my 20s and 30s, like and 40s. How do you meet friends? How do you meet mom friends? How do you meet friends in general? And so my kind of idea was to have these meetings, these gatherings of people with like-minded people with the same hobbies. And so when I created Rosie's on Iron, that's kind of why I saw the building that it's in come up on Facebook for rent. And I was like, I looked at the suite. There was one suite, and I was like, well, I'm wanting something for an event venue. And he's like, Brandon Ponce, the owner, and he's like, well, like that's not going to work, but I have these two corner suites. Like one was the Abracadabra hair salon, and the other one was private. And he said they're both vacating, and so we could tear down the wall and make it one big area. So we did it. We embarked on this big demo project, tearing down the wall. And yeah, I'll get to that in a second. I want to show you the pictures. So we rent for private parties also, and then the plan is to host events for the community too. And what I wanted to do, which is what I had in the Rosie's on Main version too, was like a full service event venue where we work with local restaurants, florists, all of that to help with people's events. And she did mention the Charlie Walker competition, and I got third place. I'm going to talk about that a little bit later when I talk about like lessons learned and things I want to tell you. Okay, so here is the event venue. So if you can see, this is where the wall was. And we ripped up the floor, tore up the ceiling. It's a big demo project. And actually, you can see the door. We have broken into the third suite there. That used to be Jackson Hewitt. And we're going to have a full kitchen and additional space. Okay, so lessons learned. So in my 10 plus years as an entrepreneur, like a formal one, I think the biggest thing I've learned is don't quit. Don't quit when you feel like, and this is like a two-sided coin, right? Like, don't quit because you're discouraged or something like that, because there are failures you make in your business. There are mistakes. There are times where you get a bad customer review or you have a conflict or something like that. And it's easy just to say, I'm done. I'm done. I'm done. And I actually, I work full time too. So all of these things are just side for me. And they fill my creative cup. I love it. I love what I do. And I have a slide later that really means a lot to me, because what I have done in the past with photography, you guys know that fall is super busy for photographers. Everybody wants fall photos. And so the last few years, I do photo sessions almost every night. And by the end of December, I don't want to pick up my camera. And then into January, February, March, I'm like, I'm done with photography. Like, I am done. I'm over it. I just want to be like a normal person where I'm not getting messages all the time. I don't have an editing queue. I don't have to schedule, things around my life. And, but then I'm like, I'm glad I haven't quit, because I have invested so much time, so much energy, so much passion, blood, sweat, and tears, and money into photography. It's okay. It's okay. Really? So along with this don't quit is I'm a big intuition person. Like, I move with my gut. I'm very believe things happen for a reason. And if there's evidence to show you that something is draining or compromising your life, quality of life, mental health, all of that, then I believe if you go into yourself quietly, when it's time to let go. So that's kind of the other side of don't quit. You are good enough. I don't know one photographer that I talk to that doesn't have this. I'm not good enough. My work's not good enough. I'm not skilled enough to do this. I'm not smart enough to do this. I'm not fill in the blank. People thinking they're not enough to run a business. Yeah, absolutely. And so to get over that thing is, you are good enough.
If I can, I know it's
Sure.
your time, but
Sure.
we've been doing this. Yesterday was our 10th year anniversary selling and I don't know how many times in 10 years I've said I'm done, because either sales aren't good, or you just kind of feel like, well, no one wants to take on, or I've had enough. And you see other people in businesses too, like you're saying, but then you look at the things and say, well, you've gotten this far. Why quit now?
Mm-hmm.
So I just wanted to add that.
Yeah, appreciate it. Definitely. Lessons learned: your time is valuable. I have little kids, and there were times when they were little that I missed out on stuff because I chose to do business stuff rather than being with them. And I'm very cognizant of that now. I actually, I share custody of my kids. And so when I have them, I don't do any photography sessions. I don't do events. I don't do anything, except for tonight. They're with my boyfriend, but this is a special instance. So time is valuable, and you should be compensated for your time. I know photographers are people just think oh, you work for 15 minutes and it's this amount. Well, you don't know all the background stuff that goes, location scouting, wardrobe, all of that. And so, yeah, I may spend 15 minutes doing what you see, but all the background stuff, you don't see. You're bound to make mistakes when you put yourself out there. I've never met a business owner that's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna make no mistakes. No mistakes. So yeah, you're gonna make mistakes, and hopefully you learn from those mistakes that you make. Sometimes you just have to take the leap and not overthink it. I think a lot of times people want to do business. They want to do something. They want to do something more. But their fear of rejection, of failure, of all of that holds them back from doing what they really want to do. And they overthink it, and they get their self-doubt in the way and all of that. And so I've learned that sometimes you just have to just do it. Obviously, no impulsive decisions, right? Like they have to be well thought out decisions, but I think sometimes people make it more complicated than it is. Be willing to take feedback and constructive criticism to improve and be better. So with my businesses, I'm always on like a self-improvement journey, asking clients and customers for feedback. How can we be better? How can we do this? Because sometimes it's hard to hear. Sometimes it's hard to hear of where you've fallen short, where somebody's disappointed, something you did wrong, but that only makes you better to do things differently the next time. Rest is more important than you think. As a business owner, I feel like I work all the time. I'm always on the clock, always doing something, answering messages. So boundaries are really important. Like I said, I'm a busybody, right? Like I like to do things and move, and it's hard for me to just sit and rest. But it's really important, really important.
If you don't take that time, you go crazy.
Mm-hmm.
You have to take that few minutes, because I've learned over the last 10 years, if you don't take that 5 or 10 minutes after you've been working all day or making deliveries or something, if you don't take that 10 minutes, it just stresses you out more.
Mm-hmm.
And I told Mary that, she's asked me, she goes, "You look like you're all stressed out." Yeah, well, it's been a rough morning and it hasn't even started. Yeah, as she tells me, to see me on Wednesday or Friday mornings. But yeah, so, and you're new, well, you're not new to it, but I can see where you're coming from. So I would give a positive feedback. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. And what happens to me is when I go, and I don't prioritize rest, my body makes me and I get sick.
Yep, that's me.
Yeah, like I'm go, and then my body's like, woo, no, you need to chill. You're gonna get sick.
I was like that yesterday.
Yep.
And the heat don't help when you go.
Yeah, for sure. You can do anything, but you can't do everything.
No.
I used to wear it as a badge of honor that I own all these businesses. I work full time. I have kids. I have this. I have that. But honestly, like being Superwoman is exhausting and unrealistic to sustain for any amount of time. So you can do anything, but you can't do everything. So for me, this looked like hiring a team of people to help me, getting a house cleaner, all of that. Like I cannot do everything as much as I try.
Julie, what's your profession?
So I write investigations for a pharmaceutical company. I know it's like, what does that mean? So just a sidebar. So pharma is very regulated. So there's policies, procedures, all of those things. And anytime those are deviated from, we have to write an investigation to determine the impact to the patient, root cause.
So do you work at the local pharmacy?
No, so I used to work at Pfizer. I worked at Pfizer for 10 or 11 years, and now I work remotely as a contractor. So, yep.
So is that your own business too?
No, it's not. I'm through a contract company.
So you're 1099 company?
Yep.
So how fluid is that compared to what you do here?
As far as income wise or
I
workload?
don't care.
So
It's
having,
private to ask, so you have to define.
yeah. So it does provide a good income for me to where, because people have always asked me, will you quit your full-time job just to do this, just to do photography, just to do event venue? And I think for me personally, if I had that financial pressure on me, it would suck every ounce of joy out of this, out of all of that. And so I do like working full-time to be able to know that my bills will be paid no matter what. I don't have to sacrifice any of that to do my passion projects. So that is what I like to do. And that's what I've done for all these years as just have it as a side thing.
So then when you're talking about all this, why not just photography? And then, I mean, because you got the other thing,
Mm-hmm.
why have a fixed asset that's got to turn a certain return, blah, blah, blah,
Mhm.
that sort of thing?
Well, honestly,
If it's too private, you just say so, but, you know, you're an entrepreneur and
Right.
you've said some tough things up there. So
Right.
that's an interesting question.
yeah, so could you just clarify a little bit more?
Yeah,
Like,
sure. I mean, you said that you're really busy, you got young kids.
Yep.
My business is time.
uh,
And so I'm a consultant, and I work with people like you. and
right,
These are questions that I ask people.
yeah,
And so let's say that you've got your great photography, you've got an assistant,
mm-hmm,
you know, you're between McPherson and here professionally with photography plus your other stuff. So then why add space? I mean, that's a whole different business. I
mm-hmm.
know it's related, but how did that play out? And then really you're in three businesses.
Mm-hmm.
You're
Right.
in photography, you're in leasing, and then you're in 2 location leasing.
Right, exactly. Yeah, that's a really good question. And I think, so, the event venue in McPherson started as a photography thing, and the rent was a lot. And so I was using events to supplement, to be able to cover the rent of that place. Then as time went on, I realized that I loved having the event space. McPherson absolutely has a need for it, for smaller events. And I loved the events we hosted for the community. So we did adult prom, which was really fun. There's not a ton to do in McPherson. I mean, Salina's got way more things to do. So we've done adult prom. We did a Mother's Day event where we had all the local businesses and people could come build baskets. We did a cornhole tournament. And we had all of these ideas of things to do for the community. And then I wanted to translate that up here to where we live, because I feel like Salina has a need for the small venue. I do feel like, because I've been told that. I've been told by several people, this is what we need here. You know, we have these really big places, these really big places to have events like weddings and all these big gatherings, but we don't have anything smaller. And then also the aspect of bringing the community together in general, to meet people, to find people with shared interests, to enrich people's lives and just have them do fun activities. That's kind of why I did it. So,
Interesting.
yeah. And I'm always like a more person, if that makes sense, like wanting to do more, wanting to get bigger and expand and all, like, that's just my personality is how I am.
I'm always wanting to do more too. My problem, I'm married.
Well, and if you work remotely, that's probably also your people outlet.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because I do say, so I've been working remotely since COVID, since March 2020. I've been at home. And what I tell people is that I've been an extrovert my entire life, but working remotely for 3+ years has turned me into an introvert, where I cannot imagine going to a place where there's lots of people 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, because I feel like it would just drain me because I'm not used to it anymore. You know, if I do 1 hour speaking thing here, this or that, like, that's not bad, but 8 hours in an office with all of these people, you know, it's funny, but it's my creative outlet, it's my people outlet, it's all of that. What you have to do or offer is important. I feel like if you have that calling on your heart, it's important to you, and people will also find it important.
I feel like you've been in my head.
A lot of things you're saying are kind of things I think all business owners
Mhm.
go through.
Yep,
It's kind of
absolutely.
funny, because I'll sit up at night, and my wife wonders why I don't sleep. But thinking of things that you can do to better your business, but also being an event planner, I call it my event planner because I do stuff with them all.
Mhm.
What can I do, you know, to help better that things? And now I'm working with Mary because she has me some ideas to help do some fundraising here, and it's like, what can we do
Mhm.
you know, and I'll sit up at night and I'll be like, okay,
Night's the worst.
yeah, that's.
My mind's just like,
Yeah. And then.
Why do I don't sleep at night?
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Even if you're passionate about something, you will work lots of days in your life. So you know that saying that's like, if you find something you're passionate, you'll never work a day in your life. That's not true. That's not true, because I am like overflowing with passion for all of the things I do, but it is a lot of work. It's a lot of work, a lot of dedication, a lot of determination, perseverance, all of that. So this idea that, oh, if you find your passion, you won't feel like you're working. I don't think that's true. That's not true in my experience. Growth as a business owner. So personally for me, I always want to grow. I always want to get better. I always want to be the best version of myself. That's just who I am and what I believe. So how I've grown is, like I was talking about, grit, determination, perseverance, don't quit, that kind of mindset. When you get knocked down, get back up. That's something I've learned. People skills, like I said, talking in front of people, I'm pretty comfortable doing that. Working with people, one-on-one, clients, customers, all of that. Belief in myself, I think sometimes, no, not I think, I know sometimes. I pinch myself. And
You
I'm
caught
like,
yourself. That was good because you won't believe the number of people that do that. If you don't believe in yourself,
yep.
then how can you succeed?
Yeah. Oh, for sure. And so sometimes I pinch myself and I'm like, how am I a business owner to 3 companies? What? And it is belief in yourself. And sometimes there are people that don't believe in you. And sometimes there's not people cheering you on. So you have to believe that you're going to succeed. And if you have this, you will. Like, there's no way about it. And then setting an example for my kids. Like I talked about, I feel like I missed a lot on my kids, like being young, and I carry a lot of guilt with that. You know, they call it mom guilt, right? But my 9-year-old daughter, my 9-year-old daughter watches her mom be a successful business owner.
Not only a successful business owner, but a successful woman.
Right. And she will believe that she can do anything because she watches me do it. And I instill that in her, that she can do anything. So, sorry. So setting an example for my kids is really important. These are just some things I have posted on Facebook about just being a business owner. The things that people don't
Those
see.
are so true.
The people don't see, they'll only see your results and call you lucky.
Yeah.
One of the things people say to me as a photographer is, you're so talented. And I tell them, like, talent has very little to do with being a good photographer. It's learning, it's building your skill, it's practice, it's all of that. So those were just some things I've posted on Facebook. So these are some of the things I would have done differently if I were to start over. Build slowly and don't go into debt with credit cards. So that was a pitfall I did at the very beginning, and even with the venues, is like I wanted to get everything up and running, right? Like I wanted it to be furnished, I wanted everything, and so I got in trouble with my other venue by doing credit cards, and it was just not a good plan. So with this venue, taking my time, like it's not everything I want it to be yet, but we'll get there, right? Don't worry about what everybody else is doing. It is a hard one. Don't compare yourself. Don't worry about people in your similar industry, and just worry about yourself.
This is what I tell my wife all the time. My wife is one of those people who worries about it. I grew up with a family of 5 when my mother was a lone parent. She always instilled in us, don't worry about what other people think. Believe what you think.
Mm-hmm.
Do what you think is right.
Yep.
And if they don't like it, tell people you know what.
Right.
So I tell my wife that every day. Over the last 12 years, because we've been married 12 years, the last 5 years, she's gotten to that point where she has that attitude where, you know, you're right. You know, I'm worried about bills. They'll be all right. I promise you.
Mhm.
The bills get paid.
Yeah.
We'll be fine. Sure enough, the bills get paid. You know what? You were right. Well, yeah, I know. I'm right. But that doesn't happen very often, but But you have, I'm looking at you, and you have the right determination, you have the grit, you have the pizzazz, okay? Just keep doing what you're doing.
Thank you.
And I don't tell that to many people.
Thank you.
No, Mary.
Made me cry, yeah.
No. What did you think of me the first time you met me? Who's this guy? Mary and I hit it off, and I don't hit it off with many people. But my whole philosophy is I've always been a people person.
Mhm.
And when I first started selling Avon, someone says, "You're a guy, you can't sell Avon." It's okay, whatever
Watch
you say.
me.
Watch me.
Watch me.
First 2 campaigns, $1,000. Oh, okay.
Really want.
Yeah, I can sell Avon. Oh, yeah, you can. I was leading in sales in my district. Oh, yeah, I guess you can sell Avon. But that's not the reason I do it. I do it because I like meeting people.
Mhm.
And it gives me a satisfaction when I go to make a delivery and I say, "Thank you." Recently, I don't mean to steal your thunder.
No, you're okay. You're good.
Recently, I had a customer. Now, this is tough. You know, from moving from McPherson to here, you gotta rebuild.
Mm-hmm.
Well, moving from Colorado to here, when I have a $1,200 person client base,
Yep.
and none of them come with me, only a handful. So I have to rebuild here. And now we're slowly rebuilding. Got this lady who orders some lipstick. Now, I can't tell her what color to wear, 'cause I don't know. So luckily we had some in stock, so I went to her and I said, I like this color. Oh, that's the color I need. Okay. She sent me a text yesterday. And this made me cry. Because when I lived in Colorado, I didn't get this kind of customer feedback. I don't mean to steal your thunder.
You're okay.
Thank you for making lipstick exchange with me today. God bless you and the work that you do for others in the world.
It's important.
Remember that, because you're doing good stuff. And I will recommend you to the world.
Thank you so much.
I'll find you on Facebook and we will.
Yes,
share you-
please.
We will share you all over.
Thank you. Thank you.
I didn't mean to steal your thunder, but I'm just trying to give some,
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. I appreciate
you know,
it.
when you're a business owner and you're a young business owner like you, I'm making yourself real.
I was gonna say I'm not that young.
But anyway, but you have that grit and determination and that want. And you don't see that in a lot of people anymore.
Yeah.
One of the hardest things I think when you're trying to start something, I found this is people asking you, why are you doing that?
Mm-hmm.
You know, are you sure?
Yeah,
They
yep.
pin their fears on you.
Oh yeah, projecting
Yeah.
for sure.
So,
You know, it's like when we moved here, you know, I got a promotion with work and it's like, do we really want to move here? And when I came to my first vet to vet coffee, I looked at Mary and I said, I'm gonna say hi to her. And she looks like a really cool person. And I did, and I hit it right off. And then next time I came, I said, "Oh, by the way, ma'am, I sell Avon." Oh, good, she said. But you're doing great. Don't stop.
Go team. Okay, so don't worry about what everybody else is doing. Focus on yourself. I think as a photographer, that's what I tell all new photographers. I actually had that conversation today about don't worry about the sessions other people are doing. Or don't worry about the prices they're like worry, do your cost of doing business, do all of that, like, and do the sessions you want to do. Do the things you want to do. Don't say, oh, well, this person's doing this type of session, so I should do it too because it's trendy. No, do what you want to do. Value my time more and take a salary every year. You know
that's
how,
part.
yeah, right, like, oh, I'm just investing back into the business. And yeah, so that's what I would have
But
done.
you have to invest. And I was told that by a person, you know, to make money, you got.
Absolutely.
That was the hardest thing I had to teach my wife over the years.
Yep. So I just want to go through challenges, and I am just like a very authentic person. I'm very open, transparent about my entire life. And I'm diagnosed as ADHD. So it's good, right? Because like people with ADHD are usually very creative and big picture and all of that. But there are challenges as a business owner that I deal with. So tasks that I feel are boring, the admin tasks, I don't want to do them, right? Like that doesn't give me the
That's what my
dopamine.
wife's for.
Yeah, that doesn't give me the dopamine hit that I'm constantly seeking. I get overwhelmed easily and the mental load that I carry with everything overwhelms me. And that's even worse with ADHD. I sometimes delay task initiation. So I have a session to edit, but it doesn't give me, the dopamine. I have to make myself sit down and do it. Over and underestimate how much time things will take. Yeah, I'll be gone. This will take me like an hour, and then 3 hours later, here we are. Or the opposite is like, oh my God, that's going to take so much time. I don't want to do it. And then it takes 10 minutes. So, struggle with executive function. Okay. So like, I suck at opening my mail. So I suck at opening my mail. It just piles up. Okay.
Oh, you and my wife can be good friends.
Yeah. So, and that's like a thing as an adult. It's like, why can't you just open your mail? And like, I have, my friend came over and sat with me the other day and did it all. But then I do things like auto pay, right? Like all my bills are on auto pay. So I don't have to sit there and open my mail and write out a check and put it in the envelope, like multiple step processes. I struggle with executive function and idea execution. So I have these big ideas, these big dreams, all of the things I want to do, but being very methodical with all the steps it takes to execute them, that is not my strong suit. And then the last one is called rejection sensitive dysphoria. So a lot of people with ADHD, when they feel rejected or they fear rejection or any of that, it puts them in a downward spiral. I've gotten a lot better over the years, and as I've aged, I care less and less about what people think, and it matters if I like it or not. So that's this is some things of how I overcame. I'm diagnosed as ADHD, so I got the help I needed for it. I have a team. I have a marketing person. I have an event coordinator for both places. And I have people that do just admin tasks for me because it works better for my businesses. To-do lists, I hate making lists. It's so stupid. Like most people like to-do lists and cross things off, but just like sitting there and brain dumping, I don't know why. I've got made myself better at it, but it's not something that I love.
If I don't do a to-do list, it don't get done.
See, I can do the list. It's
Executing the
Yeah.
list.
That's my problem.
Yeah.
I got the same two things on my to-do list to do that were on my to-do list on Monday.
Yeah.
The bird be done on Friday. My wife be told I'm in trouble.
Well, see, like once I make my list, I will execute it. It's just the task
putting the two
initiation.
things out. They don't like vacuum. So that one.
And I'll end up doing something that wasn't a material, but I'll write it on there, check it off.
There you go.
I've done
I
that.
feel like it did something.
And then setting a timer for boring tasks. I'm gonna edit this session for 30 minutes and then I'm gonna go do whatever.
You talked about overwhelm. Do you totally shut down when you get too overwhelmed?
Mhm.
Yeah, that's
Absolutely.
just sitting on the couch.
Absolutely. It's like, and I just get into a depressive state when when I have multiple days of overwhelm or I don't have an outlet or I don't take action, I just become like burnout. Burnout is real, and burnout for me is after photography season's really busy, but then as far as overwhelm and the mental load, if I don't brain dump it and make a list and objectively see all the things I need to do, it just swirls around in my head and then I get paralysis, and you just don't want to talk to anybody, don't want to do anything. So, where are we at? 6:09. Things I want you to know. And this kind of goes along with things I've already talked about. Don't quit, rest. Take a break. pause, whatever you need to do, but don't quit. Believe in your dreams and take steps to achieve them. It's one thing to have a dream, and it's another thing to take steps to get there. Say no to self-doubt. You're more capable than you think. You're smarter than you think. People like you more than you
My
think.
wife tells me that all the time, because I always, what's the word, put myself out.
Mhm. And that doesn't help you. Like, it doesn't serve you. It doesn't make anything better.
When I'm overwhelmed, I put myself.
Yeah, I think that's pretty common. Believe you will be successful. You know, there's this thing going around TikTok. It's called about being delusional. Like, be so delusional that you are going to achieve the success that you want, and even think bigger than that. I'm a big believer in that kind of stuff and positivity and all of that. So I want to talk real quick about the Charlie Walker competition, because it's one of the best things I ever did. So I heard about it and immediately self-doubt. Immediately, I can't win that. I can't win that. No. I'm not going to put myself out there. I'm not going to try, because then I can't fail. You know, I'm not going to do it. And I put it off, and I went back and forth, and should I do this? Like, it's good money if I win, but if I don't, like, what does that mean about me as a person, as an entrepreneur, about all of that? And so I almost didn't enter. I did it the last night. I entered the last
How many people?
minute. I know. And that's the thing, is like, people hold themselves back so much from achieving what they want to do. And so, like, that's what I would tell to anybody about entering the Charlie Walker competition is go for it. Like, what do you have to lose? And that's what my friends would say, like, what do you have to lose? You enter it and you don't win. Who cares? You know, and so I did it. I was, you know, when I submitted it, I was like, oh my God, like, I can't believe I just did that. I put myself out there. I can't believe it. And then, you know, the thing said, oh, like, you've been chosen for the live pitch. And I'm like, what? And so I did the live pitch, and I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna be so embarrassed if I don't win, you know, because me, I want first prize, right? Like, I have to be the best at everything. And then I won something, and I was like, holy cow, if I never would have entered this, if I would have held myself back and let my self-doubt run me, then I wouldn't have gotten this, and that was something that my daughter was at. She saw me get up there, make a pitch, and win. So I'm emotional tonight.
You did great.
You're great.
Okay, any questions, feedback, anything?
So what's your biggest challenge right now? What do you need help with?
I think for me right now is learning to say no. And there's that thing that I just recently heard again. It's like, when you say yes to something, you say no to something else.
Oh, I've never heard.
Yep. When you say yes to
Yeah.
doing this thing on this night, you say no to rest, or you say no to being with your kids, or you say no to this. So when you say yes to something, you say no to something else automatically. So I think that's the hardest thing for me, is like saying no, not volunteering myself for every single thing, not trying to achieve all the time. And just like not trying to be Superwoman all the time. I think that's my biggest challenge.
What are your rates at Rosie's on Iron?
Yeah, so we rent by the hours. So we have 2 hours. The first 2 hours is $250, and then each additional hour is $85. Or there's a rate for doing the entire day, because we plan to host like weddings, like small weddings, you know, when they have like 50 people at the wedding or 30 people at the wedding. So yeah, and we actually, with Rosie's on Iron, we had 4 paid bookings before we even opened. Before we even opened the doors, before we were like, here's the final images of the space, we already had bookings on it. And we've been really well received by Salina, and all of the business people and just the community in general. It's been really nice.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I appreciate you guys coming.
Yeah.
All right.